Um, Good afternoon to all. Are both the councils of Team LZCC24 here?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is the client here as well?
Yes, ma'am, I'm in the room.
Okay, thank you for confirming. Okay. I, Namrita, your host for the session, and the whole team of Legal Zems, welcome you all to the second National Virtual Client Counseling Competition 2021, the final rounds. We request you all to maintain dignity and decorum of the competition by sitting in isolation away from any distraction. Also, kindly do not leave the meeting until informed. A small recap for you all. So, the interview with the client will be followed by a post consultation period, during which the participants, in the absence of the client, will analyze the interview and discuss the legal and other work to be undertaken, during which the presiding judge may ask them questions. The final round will be 15 minutes for the interview and 10 minutes for the post consultation. During the consultation and the post consultation, the team may use books, notes, electronic media, and other materials. The time warning shall be given from our side. During the post consultation session, participants shall put their mic off while discussing or may discuss in front of the judges as well, but the video feed should be on in both the cases. Decision of the adjudicators and organizing committee shall be binding in the end. The video feed shall be on during the whole entire session. Inappropriate behavior shall lead to disqualification from the event. Last but not the least, here in the room, you are with our representatives or volunteers. In case there's any issue, please don't hesitate to ask or contact us. All the best to both the councils.
Thank you. Can we start?
Just a minute. Um, Good evening, Simran ma'am and Ashwarya sir. Am I audible?
Good afternoon. Yes,
Good
you're,
afternoon.
you're
Yeah,
audible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel privileged to extend a very sincere warm welcome to you all and all presented here for the final. I thank you, sir and ma'am, for taking our time from your busy schedule for us. Now I introduce you to our team LZCC 24. With your permission, ma'am and sir, can we please proceed with the session?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the permission. I would request the councils to proceed with the interview for 50 minutes.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, sir. I am
Hello,
Council 1
ma'am.
and this is my co-council, Council 2. May I know your full name, sir?
Ma'am, my name is Miss Priyanka Bhardwaj.
Okay, ma'am. How should I address you?
Ma'am, as per your convenience, it's all okay with that.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. So as you know that we are here together to discuss you and provide you with the remedies of the problem that you have already discussed with the secretary in brief before. So we'll be discussing that problem in detail in this counseling session. And before we begin with this session, I'd like to make you familiar with few terms and conditions of this session, which I know my secretary has already told you about. Has he?
No, ma'am, I wasn't given any information. I was just briefing him about the facts. That's it.
Okay, okay. So I'll just tell you the terms and conditions then. First, whatever information you share with us is completely confidential and will only be shared to a third party with your prior permission and with if the court allows us to. Second, you'll be asked certain questions in the session regarding the facts and circumstances, and if you wish to not answer any question, it is completely your choice. Third, this counseling session is free of cost, but in case you plan to work with us further, then you'll be charged certain fees, and will mail you the payment details in future if you want to. Do you have any questions, ma'am, or anything you want to ask?
Ma'am, in regards to the information that I'd be conveying you, what security do I have in regards to what I tell you won't go out to any third party without my consent?
So, sir,
Absolutely, sir.
absolutely, sir.
Legal.
See, Advocate Act is binding us for that purpose, and I'm counsel too, by the way, as she has introduced. And I will be ensuring that whatever information that you are sharing with us is not recorded right now. First of all, so it's your word against my word. And we, being in this noble profession of lawyership, we ensure that our clients' confidentiality is our top priority, and anything which can be used against you or even let you some societal damage we will never disclose it. Advocate Act also warning us in case you find that we have disclosed something that you never wanted us to disclose by any means, you can actually prosecute us and get some remedy out of us as well. So we have to take
Yes.
care of our dignity, and our dignity will never allow you
Absolutely.
to disclose something like that. So please
So
think.
just
Completely.
talking
Yeah.
in a practical sense,
Yes, yes.
let me be very honest with you.
Sure.
Your fraternity is infamous for twisting around the agreements as well as any terminologies that are ever being listed in any paper form. So I have just this hitch that I've approached a few councils in the past in regards to the issue that I'm facing as of now. I am just and yet again lying my faith in you, and I hope it doesn't get hampered at any stance just because of the fact that it offers you any monetary or any other gain.
No, sir.
No,
See,
sir, absolutely not, sir. We are actually here
monetary gain
to
is not
help
our concern at all.
you. Yeah,
That's
we
the
are
whole
actually here
idea.
to help you out and solve your problem and provide you with the best remedies. So we are here to help you. You can trust us. Yeah.
And moreover, people who do that, they don't have a lasting impression or lasting image in the law fraternity as well. And we want to grow. So we will make sure that most ethical standards are maintained from our end. And we
Absolutely.
have a long way to go. We have long plans. So if we start doing something which is unethical in nature, we will not have a long lasting impact on the
And
law
you have
fraternity.
complete choice. You can discontinue working with us anytime you want to. So it's
And we will
completely your
never give you the
choice.
opportunity
Yes.
to get discontinuous. I can assure you that. Definitely, sir.
Ma'am, yet again, just reiterating on the thing, I'm the one, if we look at the particular situation, who's at the losing end because I'll be the one who will be conveying the information to you, not the vice versa. So it begins as a hitch, but it's all right. I'll try and convey the facts to the best of my knowledge and the conscious that I have as of now.
See, sir, ultimately it
Thank
boils down
you.
to the matter of the fact that whatever you share with us is of such nature that we can use for your advantage. That's the ultimate goal. So there are some relevant questions we will be asking in this course of interview. And once we get those relevant information, we will be able to build a good case around it. And if at all you continue with us, we will use the same information to fight in court of law. There are some procedures governing us, first of all. There are certain procedures that we are governed with, and that governance is actually prohibiting us from making any societal damage. See, trust is our ultimate goal and ultimate commodity that we have in our kitty. So if
So
we
that's the
break that,
foundation stone between our relationship as of now, what I
and
can say.
and
Absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely,
and
sir.
moreover, there is a fiduciary relationship between our client and us lawyers. So we have to make sure that we continue to save the dignity of that. I hope that the past
Yes.
experience that you must have must not be replicated from our end. Feel free to share the information. Nothing will be disclosed.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you
You have
want
to
something in writing,
understand
we can
that.
give that also.
Yeah, you have to understand
Sure.
we're here to help you. And the more information you disclose in front of us, the more the case will be strong and the more we'll be able to help you, sir. So you have to be
Exactly.
completely transparent, sir, and trust us with your case. And
Uh,
we'll,
I'd like to address you both as counsels, but as of now, I'm very doubtful if you're even taking cognizance of whatever information I have conveyed to you till now. Because I don't know why you're addressing me as sir, because I just told you my name is Miss Priyanka Bhardwaj. And
Don't worry.
this
Don't
okay,
yet
worry.
again
yeah.
replicates what amount of trust that I'm lying in you and what results that I'm getting out of it.
So, sir, it will be
We
as well
apologize
your
for that,
name,
ma'am.
ma'am. We
Yeah.
all apologize for that.
Yet
Yeah.
Yes,
again the
yes,
same
Sorry.
thing.
definitely happened from our end, but we'll make sure, ma'am, this will never happen again throughout this course of interview. And please, you can continue sharing with the problem. You are a female. We will look from everything from that point of view. That I can assure you. So just
Absolutely.
please apologize for that hitch that we had from our end.
Yeah. You may continue telling us your problem. What brings you here, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I'd like to address a few more issues before beginning with all of
Yeah,
that.
sure.
I have two concerns. The primary one is that since you've mentioned that this particular session shall be free of cost, yet the future sessions that we go ahead with, if I continue with the services, shall be chargeable and the fee structure shall be sent to me. As of now, when I'm coming to you, I'm in a financially, economically, uh, physically, and mentally distressed state. So I do not have that much of funds to allocate to your expensive pieces. So uh, if you can just reiterate on that what would be the amount of fees so that before disclosing anything to you, we can zero down upon the actual schedule of the business.
Absolutely, sir. We understand your situation completely, ma'am, and that's not an issue here. And we'll try to negotiate as per your conditions. And we assure you that we'll actually be charging you certain fees only when we see that the case is working in your favor. Ma'am, that's not an issue. And as per your requirements, we'll be negotiating the fees. And we assure that we won't be charging anything unnecessary from you. And yes, that is not an issue, ma'am.
Hopeful for the best, ma'am.
Yes.
Second of all, ma'am, I'd like to just portray one thing that if rather than because I do not want to take the course again, which I've taken the course in the previous with the previous councils, because that was very distressful for me. In it just added to my agony. That's it, nothing more than that. So if you can just brief me about the facts that I briefed your secretary about, and your secretary told you that so and so has been the situation, then I can fill in the gaps, help you join the dots, and make your and my work easier. Second of all, it would be better if we have a conversation, a dialogue, rather than me just speaking all out all the facts and having a monologue, because I'm not in a habit of that. I'm always into having a conversation, and that would help you also get information from my subconscious, which might be not available.
Sure.
Absolutely, ma'am. Yeah. As per our secretary has told us about your condition is that you are a scientist and
Yes.
also you are stuck into a bad marriage and you want some remedy for us from us. So that is what we are aware of. You may tell us further about your problem.
Okay, strange, because I told her around for half an hour all things, and she just gave you a synopsis of that.
So
So
we actually told our secretary to brief us about what exactly the deep depth of the matter is, and we were actually expecting that you will be narrating your point of view
Narrating your
in
story.
such an elaborative way so that we can point out the most important point and use it in our case if at all we continue. So this was the
so
brief that we had shared.
yeah, I agree to that. Basically, it's not a storytelling thing that I'm here for.
Absolutely, ma'am.
It's basically my problem that I'm conveying to you. It might be a story to you, but yet again, it's my life experience which I'm sharing with you as of now. So it won't be easy for me to just straight away narrate all the facts to you. So it
Yes,
would
yes.
be easier for me if we just
Even
have a dialogue and make it a friendly and an amicable conversation rather than
Definitely.
being
then,
treated as a client and a counsel.
yeah, then we hope you don't mind us interrupting you in between if required to extract the certain
Not at all. It's
information.
completely okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You can continue.
So, ma'am, as I've already mentioned my name, I didn't mention my age, unfortunately. I'm 27 as of now.
Okay.
And when I got married to Samarpan, who's my husband, he was at that time, he was 29 and I was 26.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, we haven't even completed a year of marriage as of now. And
Okay.
I'm yet again in a series of state of distress, so that I've approached you. So it began like you might be reading newspapers. I've heard it's very common for the legal attorneys to be briefed with the current affairs that are going around. So you might have seen that there is a section in the newspaper which talks about the matrimony affairs and all. So my father basically, when I reached the age of 25, he started giving ads in the matrimony section of the newspaper, wherein Samarpan and his family also found my ad. That was quite later, although my father had been giving ads in the newspaper for the past 1 year, and we had seen three basically prospects of marriage, yet Samarpan was the one which my father and unfortunately me as well found a little suitable for me. But I do not trust my decision as of now. So that thing happened. Our families met. We had the Roka ceremony, and after that was in we had the Roka in December. So that was December 2019. So then when we got to the situation, it came out to be, since Samarpan was an NRI, he doesn't reside in India. He's an engineer by profession and he lives in Germany. So he had come to India just for this Rishta thing. He came here, our families met, we sort of dated for a while, and then he had to go back, join his job in Germany. So he flew back in the first quarter of 2020, and so since he was not physically possible, the marriage was not possible anytime soon. So what our family in the background, yet my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my mother and father, they were actively engrossed with them, planning out the marriage and doing all the regular stuff. My parents were in the favor of getting married as early as possible. Yet they were of the choice that let her, like me and Samarpan, take the decision that when they want to get married. So finally, I used to talk to Samarpan, and during those conversations, I used to have basically it's a very normal thing when you're into new into a relationship. It's basically a honeymoon phase that's going on for the initial 6 months, and we used to have different conversations, being into each other all the time, and that was the regular affair for since the time that Roka ceremony happened. So I at times he used to be out for work or for any other stuff. At times he used to be at home as well. But I used to hear a female voice in the background. And that female voice was I used to always point that out, and he used to just give around any other excuse that probably it might have been Alexa or something like that must have been there. So that was the situation, and he just basically tried to twist around the facts whenever I posted this question and change the topic ASAP. This thing happened, then finally he had the opportunity to come to India in the last quarter of the year. So that was that was the last quarter of the year 2020. So finally, before he was arriving in India, we thought the dates of marriage were already fixed. The date of marriage was fixed as 15th of December 2020. So after almost 1 year of the Roka ceremony and dating each other, we thought of tying the knot. And when he came to India, everything was, you can say, it was like a fairy tale. Everything was going around good. Fortunately, my father is a business tycoon, and he had a good financial backbone, which it's very common in the culture that I come from. It's very common in the Brahmin culture to invest a huge amount of finances that one acquires during their whole life in the marriage. And that thing happened. My father gave in basically his capital for the business. He liquidated the capital and invested that for our marriage. We got married in Udaipur, and then once we got married, since his home was in Germany and my parents-in-law were residing in Dwarka in New Delhi, and so we, as per the culture, it was normal for me to shift from there. Fortunately, it was good enough because my office, since I told you I'm a scientist with the Indian Agricultural Center, so it was easier for me to commute till there because it was near the Lutyens. The office is near the Lutyens, Delhi, so it was easier for me to commute from there. So that thing happened, and we shifted. Although when we got married on 15th of December, you can say it again raised the eyebrow that the day we got married, next day Samarpan had uh, you can say he was more inclined to flying back and join his work. And as any newly married couple would say that why are you inclined to join the work so quickly? Just settle down first, since you both are new to each other's company. Settle down, look around, and maybe then you can go back after a month. Then that thing happened, and but he was still very inclined towards joining his work, giving excuses that I might lose my job. It's important. I just took a leave on the pretext of my marriage. In the Western culture, the marriage is a very meager affair. That's the reason probably these people have 2 or 3 marriages at times, one after the other. So for them, it's like an affair of a week. But yet again, as per the Indian culture, it needs to be planned at least 6 months prior. So as per them, he took a leave for a week. He came to India. We married. And then on 20th of December, he flew back to Germany. And I was living with my parents and sorry, I was living with my parents-in-law, not my parents, at my marital home. That was in Dwarka.
Sure.
We started living there. The things were pretty normal initially, yet the things started turning out a little ugly when the things started progressing. Uh, Whatever Stridhan that I was given during the marriage, my initially it was given to me, and my mother also asked my mother-in-law explicitly that if she wants to keep the Stridhan with me, like as in me, or she wants to keep it with herself. So during the marital ceremonies, she was very liberal about the thought that no, it's something that she owns, she possesses. Whatever gifts you are giving to her, it all belongs to her, and the ceremonial gifts and all were to be kept with me. Initially, when the marriage happened for a month or two, the things were with me. I was having a lot of autonomy. Yet the things started changing gradually. I won't say it was a stark change, but it was something that was it created a domino effect basically. Initially things started my mother-in-law started asking for meager things out of the things that I was given, some jewelry, some clothes. Maybe she has, on the pretext of having some functions or some ceremony or something like that that she needs to attend, she needs something to wear from my closet. It's a family. I couldn't say no to it, and nobody should even say no to it because it's a family affair. So I didn't. I used to give out the things to her, and I used to also not question when she didn't used to return the things to me while after coming back from there. Because for me, the thought was that okay, it's to be kept with her only. It's for her, and it's for her, or basically it's for us, not for her or only for me. A communalistic thought came into the picture. So that thing happened. Post that, it was a strange scenario that my father-in-law's behavior also started changing towards my profession. Since I work as a scientist and it's in with the GOI, it's not easy for me. It's not a regular 9 to 5 job wherein I just commute one day. I go at 9 and come back at 5. There are certain days where I go at 9 and come back home by 1 o'clock. And there are certain days there where I go at 7 in the morning and I reach back home around 11:30 in the night. It all depends upon the workload that I have and the project that's going on. So that thing was under the process, and my father-in-law's behavior initially started turning to be a little sarcastic, as well as you can say not very explicit, but he implicitly tried objecting towards my work timings through different sources and different means. If I tell you one of the pretexts, it was like I came back home around 10:30 in the night, and there was nothing cooked for me as dinner. So I asked my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law pointed towards my father-in-law, saying that he had cooked the dinner for the day. So you may ask him what's the situation. So I went to him. He was like, "Oh, I didn't. Oh, I forgot that you would be coming home late. I thought that you will eat out since you spend a lot of time in the office. You didn't have time for home." So he started throwing certain sarcastic comments and a little of rhetoric as well along with that. That thing started. I just ignored it because he was also throwing sarcasm. I also retaliated with a positive sense of humor, and the thing got settled over there. I didn't pay much heed to it, but now when I connect the dots, it began since back then. This thing happened after that. It was a complete havoc. Then the thing started changing drastically, wherein my mother-in-law keeps on insisting me. I used to have 2 week offs. That used to be Saturday and Sunday, wherein I used to be at home. My job's nature was a little hectic, so I thought of resting during the day and having basically my own time. Also, since Germany's time clock is completely different from India, I had to give time to Samarpan as well. And at times we used to have calls at odd hours, which used to last around 1 to 1.5 hours. And managing that at late nights or sometimes very early in the morning used to be a slight issue. So that thing happened. But after that, my parents were not very objectionable towards my parents-in-law's behavior. They were like, it's a regular affair in any matrimonial home. The ups and downs keep on happening. It's all cool. You're smart enough to handle the situation. So when these weekend things started happening, my mother-in-law used to be like that. You need to give time at home as well, and start sharing the workload. Only paying out a certain chunk of your salary for the things that are supposed to be done at home doesn't work out. So initially, I thought of agreeing with her because it is something genuine that if it's a home, you gotta leave your profession out of there and term it as your home, as your personal home. That thing, then she used to ask me to do a lot of chores and other stuff as well, and which didn't suit the nature of my job, which is like I couldn't do anything. That's something that derogates me mentally because certain I won't say that it's only the work that is done outside the home takes a lot of effort. It's the work that is done in home also takes a lot of effort and a mental stress as well. So that thing happened. After that, the behavior started changing. My father-in-law started explicitly objecting towards my job, and his objection was primarily towards the timings that I used to go at. I just explained him the nature of my job. He's an educated man. He served in the army. Now he's retired. So he just used to object towards that, and then something used to just always point around my profession. Every any issue that arose in the house due to me being there came around and squared down upon my profession that you come around late, it's due to that, you have odd timings, you do not give time at home. It turns out to be like that. Out of respect, I used to not argue to that, and I used to just listen to him. At times, I retaliated as well in a stance wherein an argument struck, and my father-in-law basically gave a call to my father, told him about the situation, and called him over. And when my father came to the place, the simple dialogue was that what is happening, I don't know. You take care of the situation. If you can't take care of the situation, please take your daughter along with you. So that was there. But what my father, as he is a man of good virtue, he wanted to resolve those particular issues. He didn't want to take the things to a very lasting level. And so somehow I also apologized. Fortunately, my father-in-law also apologized that he got a little agitated to the particular situation and he wanted to let the things resolve. So the things got normal. Unfortunately, during this time, things started turning sour at Samarpan's end as well in Germany. He had a huge workload as I did, and the inputs that he used to give in were a little high in comparison to the nature of my job. So sometimes I couldn't talk to him for around 3, 4 days, and that now started turning out to be 1 to 1.5 weeks, wherein there was no conversation between two of us. That thing happened, and post that I just objected to it that if you are very busy with the meets, just let's just find out a time that wherein we can just talk for around 15, 20 minutes, ask about each other's well-being, and then advance to our works. That thing just pinpointed towards yet again the same thing that I earlier mentioned, that uh, about the thing of female's voice in the background. That thing again started questioning towards that. Yet I didn't have any conclusive proof for that because on the video calls as well, nothing used to appear, and he always used to pinpoint towards Alexa. So that okay, I just use my Alexa, something like that happened. In Germany, there are smart homes. So we used to say that it must have been the bell or something, some smart gadget out there that had made the noise. And this thing came out. After that, it was just I just tried to you can say deviate myself from all these negative issues and put the energy into the work as usual. I gave in my efforts for that, and once this thing started happening, the thing started turning even more sour at my place. By my place, I'm referring to my father-in-law's and my mother-in-law's home. Unfortunately, this was the period when my father also got ill. He fell ill due to some kidney stone. We had to get him admitted into the RML hospital. And when we got him admitted, after that, I used to manage four things simultaneously. One is my maternal home or matrimonial home. Second is my job. Third is relationship with Samarpan. And also now I need to give attention to my father's health as well. Because I have a brother who's living in US. He couldn't come back to India at that point of time. And my mother, who's also ailing with diabetes, wasn't very active in order to sustain to that. We had a lot of house help due to my father's economic status, yet a child's character can never be replaced by a house help. So I had to be there. So this during this situation, my parents, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law also started objecting to it, that you are just neglecting your home, like this home, and you just excessively engrossed with your parents. Why don't you go? Why don't you live with them for this particular period of time? You can go. This was, now I realize, this was again a sarcastic comment passed by them, in the sense of that leave this place and go there. So after that, once my father was critical at certain point of time, then he started objecting even more, especially my father-in-law. He gave rise to issues that I don't want any of your connections to come at our place. Neither do I want us to visit them. We just want you, since we have almost cut off all the ties with your parents, we want you to also cut off your ties with your parents and your maternal place, and as well as with any maternal relatives that you have. That thing just struck the chord, where it yet again broke out as an argument. I have been brought up in the family where if something is wrong, I need to object to that. I objected to it. Yet again, an argument broke out. My mother-in-law also got involved this time, and they were like, "Ki, now we can't keep you at our place. You got to leave, and you got to go at your parents' place back." My father was still very ill during this time, and unfortunately, my father couldn't attend to what the situation was. So I had to adhere in order to, because that was the only way out in order to control the situation. If I would have told my parents that I had left my home, my matrimonial home, and come to you for serving them, they would have also been under a huge mental trauma and stress. And my father's health would yet again had more deteriorated even more. That happened. So I had to agree to them. What they said was that your father is fine now. They have a lot of money, they have house help and other facilities, they can handle the things on their own. This thing happened and I had to agree to them. I i started uh, stopped visiting my father in the hospital and my mother. Fortunately, I used to have a video call with them every other day, and whenever they used to ask me about why am I not visiting them? So I used to just give around the excuse of that I'm busy with the work, there is some project, something like that. So I used to have you can say a scolding from them as well, just because of that. That is your work more important than something that your father is ailing from? So I every time I used to just hear that and turn the thing around, but my parents were really agitated at me for saying something, for getting into the work more than the family. That thing happened. My father fortunately got. Ma'am, any questions as of now, if you like to put across?
Yes, I'd like to ask you the situation that you were going through. I'd like to ask you, ma'am, how was this actually affecting you? Can you explain your state of mind? Can you explain how are you dealing with the situation?
Ma'am, I'll tell you that I've been brought up in the family of business tycoons. So stress was a very normal affair for us. So I used to be in a little bit of stress, but I used to ignore that because I was quite, uh, you can say, used to this thing, since managing a lot of things together, doing the work together. It was okay for me till this point of time where there was actually no excessive mental trauma and arguments at, you might be having a family, sir might be having a family. It's very normal at anybody's place to have arguments with the family members and then resolve it later. So I didn't used to pay much heed to it, yet I was completely okay with the situation that was going on.
Like when you were not allowed to, go to your parents' house more often. So did that affect you in any way?
Ma'am, that did affect me in my mental state. But again, in order to just handle that situation, I ignored the fact to a stance that it's all right. I need to handle this situation first. I can address this problem later as well. And post that, the relationship with my parents-in-law was a little bit okay in comparison to what it used to be earlier.
So were they still objecting of your work and the work hours you used to work? after
Ma'am,
you?
fortunately, I'd say that their attention had been diverted towards my maternal family. So their attention towards my work and my timings got a little lenient. So now, since I was avoiding one issue, that is my family to them, the issue that was for them, that my family, I was avoiding that issue. They were a little okay with the work that I was doing and the things that were going on.
Okay. And regarding the female voice that you mentioned that you used to hear behind when you used to talk to your husband, is there anything else you noticed? Anything, any visual thing that you noticed that maybe was
Ma'am,
not clear about?
I did mention that I didn't have any conclusive proof or anything like that, because if that would have been there, I would have straight away chucked it in his face that what is this, what's happening. So there was no
Okay.
conclusive proof. It was just a voice that I used to hear.
All right. For
Any heated
regarding the voice,
arguments you
ma'am.
had with your husband related to this?
Ma'am, no, nothing as such, because I was trying to act a little understanding in the situation, understanding this
Okay.
situation, what's going around. So I didn't used to object much to it once he used to change the topic.
All right.
Okay.
All right, ma'am. I have few questions regarding the voice of girl. There is a certain set of voice that Alexa possesses. It's a commanded voice. So, do you have any recordings of the video call or the phone call that you had, so that we can confirm it is matching the same voice which is ad- added to the voice of Alexa as a tool?
Uh, Sir, I guess you seem to be a little aged. Do you have a family?
Yes, I have.
Sir, you must be having them. Do you live with them as of now, or they live in our different state and you're
I
practicing
I
here?
I am in my office chamber right now, and they live in a different state, so I don't see it as a difference.
So, sir, you being a family member, you must be talking to them on regular basis.
Yes, yes.
So, do you record your calls with them?
You didn't.
See, and my wife is very cooperative with me, and I don't have any issues with her. So it's a trust that I have, and it's been very cordial. So it never gave me a reason of doing that. Although my friends are in a similar situation like you, and they sometimes feel when they have a deep trust deficit, so they don't end up taking that action, and just to make sure so that they can go after and persuade them to reconcile things in a better way. That's why I sometimes believe there is nothing wrong in recording such things, so that in future, if at all matters go out of hand, you have something at hand. So that I'm
Sir,
not
your
recommending.
statement in itself has the answer to it. Uh, I'll tell you, I'm a very spiritual person. I
Okay.
believe in karma. I believe in good faith and thinking the things in a positive manner. So for me, the legal recourse was never an option. It
Okay.
only turned out to be when the situation turned extremely sour for me. But for me, having faith in losing faith in my husband was the last resort. So till that particular point of time, we had no issues with him, and I never recorded the call. I had faith in him. That's why in the first place I married that person. So that's the simple reason for that.
Are there any WhatsApp conversations or any evidence that you can provide us regarding this? You're talking to him regarding
Mm,
the girl, I mean, the voice you hear from the back or anything like that.
Ma'am, since you've mentioned in the beginning itself that if there are certain questions and statements which I won't like to answer, so this is a question that
Okay,
I won't like to answer.
okay, that's not
It's
an issue.
completely okay.
Do you guys have a child together?
Ma'am, no. Unfortunately, I
Okay,
told you he flew back just in 5 days of marriage, so no chance of conceiving.
All right. So
okay,
have you ever conjugated the marriage?
The
The marriage
marriage got consummated, yeah.
okay.
consummated. All right. Okay. So it was just 5 day affair between you and him, and then he went back. Was he emotional about it? Was he trying to tell you the reason? Was he trying to reason it, or he told that I'm going and without reason he went?
Sir, I didn't understand your question. Can you please reiterate?
Uh, See, did he try to convey the reason why he's leaving, or just he just didn't give you any reason and left in 5 days?
I
Was it?
mentioned, sir, that
Hmm.
he had workload
At
and
work.
at work
That's
also
okay.
the Western culture of marriage. I just explained that to you. So he had to leave
Yeah.
back.
He had to. All right. So he gave
Okay,
you the
so
reason.
did you
That's
ever
fine.
demand him to come back, or no? You just you wanted to stay together, or he demanded like that, to just
Ma'am,
to
that's a
cooperate
normal
with the
no, emotional
situation.
exchange. That's a normal emotional exchange. Yes, I did ask for that. But that was not something in the sense of asking for something by putting my foot down.
Hmm.
But it was something that was conveyed in the nature of emotions, wherein I was just missing him or he was just missing me. So that used to be there. That he also used to say the things at certain pretexts that, oh, I sometimes I miss you so much. I wish that you would have been with me in Germany.
So there is
I
some
mean,
amount of cordiality remaining in the relationship. It's just that sometimes the voice is disturbing, otherwise everything is sweet over the calls.
The things
so
were
if
well, sir. The things were well. There were just two issues. Firstly, primarily, I told you the female's voice issue. The second thing that I noticed was that we weren't able to give each other the proper amount of time. At times,
much time.
yeah, so thank you for raising this question. I had one more issue now. When I used to tell him about the affairs that were going on at the home, that arguments and something, and it's very normal to
Hmm.
discuss it with your family. So
Hmm.
I used to tell him, and I've noticed that he used to sometimes defend me and sometimes defend his parents. At times, when he used to talk to them, he used to also tell them that please do not prick so much that she turns out to be an aggressive person and burst out at you. So he used to tell them as well.
All right. So I would like to get a brief now. I think I have a lot of things at hand which
Also,
I
are there
can
any
address as a
further
problem. Yes, please.
further events or further, a circumstance you would like to mention that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Actually,
please.
I just raised
Yes.
the question, so it was
Yeah,
easier
you
for
may
you.
continue. You may continue.
So, ma'am, after that, what happened was, when since the last question that you raised, that ever I asked him to come back, this time I asked him sternly that please come to India. It's been a huge time, and we should spend some time together, or at least call me to Germany. I can take leave from my work and get you there and get to you there. So that thing concluded in the sense that he said that okay, I'm coming to India, and so on. So he came to India a month ago. So
Okay.
that's in September when he came to India. He came to India for a month, fortunately this time, but it was yet again with a purpose. This purpose basically was he met my father. Primarily, he asked for his health and other stuff. But then he came to the actual pretext that he had visited for. He asked my father for certain capital because he wanted to begin a business in Germany that he promised my father to pay the amount back once the business starts flourishing and the things started to get normalized. So my father agreed to it, and to that he borrowed 15 lakh rupees from my father, and my father gave it in certain amount in cash and certain amount in the bank account through
Hmm.
bank transfer. So that thing happened, and after that we spent some time together in India as as a normal couple would. We went out to go around. We traveled a little bit here and there, and then yet again after on 30th of September, he had his flight back to Germany. This time I insisted him that I can leave my job since he was also starting a business. I can go there. I can handle the home and other stuff and be with you and help you around. So he said that not it's not possible right away to take you along with me, but I'd like to basically have some time with you there. Once I'm settled with my business, I can call you there. And this time he promised that okay, I'll call you. He left, and that's when the SAR things come into the picture. He started ignoring my calls. He didn't used to take any calls and other things as well. This time, as I mentioned, the female voice and the female voice thing came out to be, you can say, true and not true as well,
Okay.
because since he was ignoring my calls and I had known his circle, they were some of his friends in Germany as well. So I did my Reiki, and through that, I got to know that he dated a few girls in Germany before
Yeah.
me, but he turned out to be a bisexual. And this time he was in a relationship with a guy who was around. And you can say the Alexa's voice was the correct thing. The voice that female voice used to be, that was used to be Alexa. But he was yet again in a relationship with a guy in Germany who was residing with him. I'd call him a coward because he couldn't confess that to his parents. First of all, his father was from a family background, so a little stern and a little of a dominating thought. He didn't confess it anything to to his family, neither to me until we got to this point of time. He didn't knew that I knew that he's a bisexual. That thing happened. And when I confronted him with all the things, he broke out to me that yes, I am in a relationship with a guy, and I can't tell all the things to you, and I don't want to be with you anymore. And maybe let's get this marriage to an end. And I want to settle with this guy in Germany.
All right.
So after that, when I told my parents-in-law about the same situation, what they objected to it, that whatever you're saying is it's all crap. Our son is not like that, and you should feel pity of yourself for saying something like that, and first of all getting information about your husband from other sources. So it turned out to be a negative side for me. They started attacking my self-esteem, they started attacking my chastity, and they basically tried to slut shame me and throw vulgar slangs and whatever it's there. I somehow got a lot of mental stress due to all of this. I was into a lot of mental trauma, which affected my work there as well, which resulted almost my resignation. Sorry, in not my resignation, but me being fired.
Right.
Okay.
All right,
So
ma'am. Here, I would like to ask a few things. Is your
yeah,
husband a German citizen or an Indian citizen?
No.
no, sir, he's an NRI as of now.
NRI. All right. So I have understood the basic idea. I just want to confirm: have you resigned or have been fired, or are still continuing with your job?
No, I've not been fired. I said that it was just on the verge of me getting
All
fired.
the work. So still
Okay, and
working,
also,
right?
where are you residing right now? In your parents-in-law's house or your parents' house?
Ma'am, I was just about to complete the facts. So,
Hmm.
sir just raised the question. I'd just like to tell you that. So, when I objected to this and things happened, so my parents-in-law simply asked me to leave. And this time it was turn. I packed my bags, and out of my anger as well, I left their home because I don't want to live in a place where I didn't find faith in the people that I'm living with.
Okay.
All right.
So after they asking me, I left for the place. I came to my parents' place. I told them about each and everything, and they were like, "Okay, let me have a word with him and Samarpan, that whatever thing is going on, we can resolve all of this." But this time, my father-in-law was very reluctant even to entertain my father's call. He wasn't taking my father's call either, and things like that were going around. So that happened. After that, it was just very simple that I chose to take the legal recourse since I've lost faith in him in the relationship. I had to take the legal recourse to come to you and get the thing resolved.
So before us, have you
Okay.
met any other lawyer? Any consultation prior to
Yeah,
us?
I told you I met 2, 3 attorneys in the past.
All right. So
Hmm.
I hope they had given you the advice that you have needed. Because I think if I have to break down your problem, so I think first thing is you have a husband who is a bisexual. That's a fact now. I can establish that, right?
Yeah.
So what is the proof? If you ask, if you have to prove it in the court of law, what would you say is the proof which is established now? Any
The proof for
testimonies?
that, sir, the friends, since he had in Germany, they are mutuals. So I maybe as per after, if the court summons them, there can be an evidence to that this person was involved with so and so people.
Good. Hmm.
All right, ma'am. Second thing about the money that he has taken from your parents. So
Hmm.
there is some receipt must be there, the bank transfer and all for 15 lakh rupees. I would like to take that also. If
So
you can
it was
provide
not there for complete 15 lakhs. Now I told you why what his motive was. He took the maximum amount in
in
cash,
cash. All right.
and the rest amount, it was, I guess, a meager amount of around 1 or 1.5 lakh rupees. That's it, which he took
Okay.
from the bank transfer. And he emphasized on one thing to my father, that whenever you send this money through wire, he just asked him to mention something in the remarks as settlement.
Settlement. Okay.
So
Hmm.
that might be there in the remarks, and I don't know why he asked for the remarks to be mentioned as settlement or something like that. We didn't object to it because it was something that was very meager at that point of time.
Right. Right. All
Okay.
right.
Adding to this, ma'am, you was there any money demand made by your in-laws at the time of the marriage?
No, ma'am, just the ceremonial thing was there since it was
Okay.
a matrimonial thing through the newspaper.
Hmm.
So the thing were in the picture. It was like not something very discreet. Our relatives knew about it. His relatives knew about
Hmm.
it. So the things were in the communal picture. So they didn't ask anything explicitly in regards to that.
Okay, so everything
Although
was done by.
ceremonial gifts were for sure exchanged, and my father also gave certain gifts to me, which later
With
turned out
his
to
own
be in them
wish, with his own discretion.
with his own discretion.
Okay,
Alright, okay.
perfect.
Now, sir, now, ma'am, I would like to summarize a few things for you. First thing, that husband has done a fraud to you here. He has
Yes.
clearly not mentioned, not only you, with his parents also, being a coward, as you have claimed, that he is a bisexual and he didn't tell you. Second, there is an ill intention of getting money. Since your father is a business tycoon, he has tried to exploit money because settlement is something that is showing an intention on his part of fetching money from you and your family, and their family's relation are such that they will never be comforting for your purposes because they are taunting you
Yes.
about life. Then they are
Clearly, you
trying
have
to
suffered from
sever
mental
a
cruelty.
relationship between you
Yeah.
and your parents. That is very wrong on your end. And let me comment the fact that the way you have handled the situation with dignity and your upbringing is really
Thank
commendable.
you.
I'm really happy that you have handled it in a very dignified way. So, what are the course of remedy that you are seeking right now? It's very unfortunate that you have
What do
to
you
be,
want
arrive
exactly?
at legal
Yes. Do you
fraternity,
want
but we would
your,
like to know what are the remedies
yeah,
that you want.
do you
Yeah.
want to give your husband a chance, or do you want to end the marriage? What do you want?
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, at this particular stance, I don't think that anything is left retrievable in this particular marriage. So, I want this marriage to be ended. That
Okay.
too, I want that to be done as soon as possible. I don't want to push that any further. I want to have the order of the court within a month.
Right.
So,
Okay.
that is
So,
there. Primarily, I want to end the marriage. Second of all, I want to counter sue. I
okay,
want to
perfect.
counter sue them for the mental cruelty that has been caused to me
Yes, ma'am.
and the things that have gone down the lane during the last
Okay.
1 year, almost
So,
1 year of marriage.
so ma'am,
Right.
looking at your condition, as you said, your marriage hasn't been like completed 1 year. So I like to mention that if the marriage hasn't completed 1 year, so here you cannot file for divorce directly. You'll have to file for judicial
Okay.
separation first, and then you'll be given 1 year time to to think and to if you want to continue the marriage or you don't want to continue the marriage. And once the period of 1 year is over, then you can actually file for divorce.
Right. Or
Ma'am,
And
I do not
yeah,
have that amount of economic status
of
because my
course.
father do has that, but I do want to do this independently without the assistance of my father in regards to this. So I do not have that amount of economic support that I can sustain a legal matter for 1.5 or 2 years in order to just get a divorce.
don't worry,
In
sir.
that
That's
Don't worry,
okay.
situation,
ma'am. We have a solution for
You
that
know, we
also.
after that, if you of course you said that you don't want to incur expenses. So once the judicial separation period is over, you can actually go for a very good option, that is mediation. Now here, this process actually is an out of court process where both the parties will be sitting in a room and you'll be actually negotiating a few terms related to whatever happened and the circumstances and whatever your demands are. So this is basically an out of court proceedings which actually requires very less expenses and also is very short period, requires very short period of time. So this is
ma'am,
what
I
takes.
have certain questions
Yeah.
regarding the mediation. First of all, is it binding on the court order as well? For example, if we have certain commands that, for example, if we settle that, okay, whatever things were exchanged in the marriage, we can create a two in exchange of that. We can give those things back to each other, and then we can say that, okay, we won't be living anymore together. So, would this decision of ours through the mediation would that be binding on the court?
No, it won't be.
No.
Ma'am, then
So,
yet again the thing would turn out to be negative. If we think in a very practical sense, for example, as I've already told you, the ill intentions of my husband and his family, they would yet again challenge this in the court. And then again, I need to hire an attorney for that. So again, this time my financials won't go away, but my time would go away because mediation would also take certain amount of time.
right. See, we
Absolutely.
have to bring about this point of mediation
Council,
because, uh,
your time is up.
so
Can
two
we
more minutes just to
request?
summarize this.
Can
I
we
would like
request
to
a
get
few
the
more minutes
run of this problem.
from the judges?
Yes, yes. 2 more minutes. We will
To
try
give
to
you more
resolve the
Conclude,
minutes.
issue and it
conclude
will be
within
reached
2 minutes, right?
Okay,
Conclude
thank you.
it.
all
Okay,
right.
thank you.
So, sir, so ma'am, here I would like to bring two things. I'm bringing up mediation just because of the fact that we don't want families to be separated on such short notices. So, law is actually making sure that we provide that option first. If everything is settled down cordially, then we can take that route. But if you are adamant and you are sure that you don't want to continue this, I can end your marriage by annulment process. Since it's less than 1 year, I can annul your marriage, and you can be as good as never married before. You will be free, and then you can pursue with somebody who is understanding you very well, And then,
Sir, I guess annulment is basically something similar to divorce, right?
yes.
No,
Yes.
no, sir. It's not similar to divorce. Divorce is basically ending a marriage, but annulment is making a marriage void. Now, as you mentioned that your husband was
Okay.
bisexual and he did not
Yeah.
mention that to you earlier, so
Yeah.
that can be regarded as fraud. So, on the basis of fraud, we can actually tell the court that this has been a fraud, so they can actually declare the voice to be married ab initio from the very beginning. So, this can actually lead to annulment of your marriage.
Okay, so basically, once the marriage is annulled, I would be termed as never married
Never married.
in the
Yeah,
past.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Hmm.
So that's the route that we can take. So I leave it up to you. If you want to proceed with mediation, you can let us know. We will try to
Yes.
resolve
And
everything
also
cordially.
regarding the thing that you mentioned that you want to press charges against the person for mental
Hmm.
cruelty, you can also do that through civil suit. You can file a civil suit against that person, and legal notice will be sent to them. And you can after the 1 year you can actually file for divorce with the reason that you have been mentally tortured, you have faced mental cruelty in their home. So that's not an
Ma'am,
issue as well.
as I've already mentioned my financial status to you, money in the terms matters to me, but it doesn't matters in regards to my character. Is there any method through which I can send this person and his family behind the bars?
Yes, you can. When you file for the petition or divorce here, you will be getting interim maintenance for that purpose, and they will be paying for all the proceeding that you will be
Yes, the
taking care in this
maintenance,
case.
of course.
So you don't have to worry about money part as well. Since you are the one who are suffering, they will be paying the money. There is some
Yeah.
provision which are assuring that part, and once you win the case, that will be given to you, and court will never ensure that person
Just
who is indignant
yeah.
is not given the justice. So you will
Just
get
to
the
make
justice.
things a little more clear to you, interim
Yes.
maintenance is basically when if you being a wife or he being a
Ma'am
husband
and sir, I
cannot.
think you misunderstood my question. I asked that, okay, I agree to the part that, okay, I do want the financial support from the family. But my point is, these people have hurted my self-esteem and brought me to a mental stature which I don't think I would be able to recover from. So, in order for that, is there any chance I can send these people behind the bars? I can get them
Yes,
in the
yes,
court, get them
yes.
punished through the court with a decree of them being in the jail.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, there is a section in the penal codes which is mentioning specifically about that, and it's a non-bailable offense and cognizable offense. If at all this is filed against them, they will be behind bars immediately. Before
So, what offense we can basically file against these people?
there is section 498A in IPC, which is about they are trying to persuade you to do wrong things. They are try to sever your relationship. They have committed fraud. There is amount of mental cruelty involved
Hmm. Hmm.
within this case, and we have evidences to back that up.
This is
So
actually a
that can
section
be
that
immediately filed,
domestic
and they will be
violence.
behind the
So,
bars
basically,
immediately.
for my mental trauma that I've suffered, I can get them behind the bars for that.
Yes,
Absolutely, both
definitely.
physical and mental tortures are covered under that, so that's not an issue, sir. We can actually
That is
send
not an
them
issue.
behind bars for that section. That's not an issue.
All
Council,
right.
sir, 2 minutes is up.
Thank you
Okay,
for your
thank
time.
you.
I hope we
Thank you
did
for your
justice
time.
for
I hope you've
the
resolved
great
your query, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you so
hoping
much for
for
coming in.
a positive solution very soon and having a
Absolutely.
positive degree of
I
Absolutely,
hope we
divorce.
ma'am.
will
We'll work
continue
our
this
best
relationship.
towards solving your problem, ma'am. That's not an issue. I hope
Thank
you've
you so much.
It's
found your
great
solution.
meeting you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you very much for your
Same
time.
here.
Now I request the client to please leave the chamber. With the permission of Aishwarya sir and Simran ma'am, shall we start with the post-consultation round where the councils can analyze the interview?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, judges. Now I request the council to start with the post-consultation, which will be for 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Now, starting with the part that, she has actually clearly suffered mental cruelty in this case from her husband and from her in-laws as well. So this is one very, very actually strong factor that we can actually, consider while filing for divorce if she actually wants divorce and at the end, which she has actually made clear that she wants divorce. So mental cruelty can be actually, taken to the court. And secondly, about the bisexual part, this can actually amount to something hiding a fact. As you know, his husband when she was when they were marrying, so his husband was clearly aware of the fact that he is bisexual, but he chose to hide it, not to tell her, and then he married it. So that is again
Exactly.
can be, of course, hiding facts is also one kind of fraud, so this can be actually challenged in court of law as well. Now talking about the part that she said he cannot afford the proceedings, or she cannot the expenses that she cannot be, she can actually incur. So we can actually, file for maintenance. There's one thing called interim maintenance, which is covered in Section 24 of Hindu Marriage Act,
Exactly.
which can actually cover, or also in CRPC Section 125, subsection 1, it is covered, which actually states that, if the person is not able or financially capable to, fill with the expenses related to the proceedings of divorce, so then the husband, who is actually financially independent, has to provide for maintenance a certain amount of money to cover those expenses. And even if she demands further maintenance for permanent, as she said that she's not earning enough to, sustain that lifestyle that she was sustaining before. As she said that she's from a very wealthy family, and the people who she's married are also really wealthy. We can see, father-in-law being an army officer and the husband working in Germany. We can assume that she had a good lifestyle. So if she's not able to maintain that lifestyle after the divorce, we can actually file for permanent maintenance as well. That is covered under Section 25 to, just get back to her the life she was living before the divorce happened. So that is also what we can
Uh,
consider here.
That's
Yeah.
correct, Council, but that is a far-fetched thing to see right
Of
now.
course.
If we can
Yes,
get
that's true.
annulment here, I think that will be the best thing for her because the marriage was on wrong footings. That was a fraud. The information was not disclosed here. So before we jump into that maintenance part, I think we can get her out of this marriage first because she is suffering a lot of mental trauma around it. Also, it's
Absolutely.
not just that the fact which was suppressed here. It's moreover there is an explicit, although there is no physical violence here, as she clearly told, there is a dignity. She is an army officer. We have to consider that,
No
and
mental, of
she is
course.
also coming from a very good family. So there is no sort of violence involved in this. It's more of a sarcastic tone which has occurred here in the
Mental.
family
Yeah.
matters, and it's very common. Although the amount which was taken in this case is beyond that threshold where we can completely say
Exactly.
it's
And
a mental cruelty.
assuming the time period it has been going on, I think this would be really distressful for her. And when you actually get a lot of taunts and sarcastic comments every day when you come back home, when you're already tired with the work, and as also she mentioned that her father was ill, everything was going very hard, and then also her father-in-law and her mother-in-law were constantly poking her regarding the timings, and she's spending time at her father's, and also like refusing her to not go to her parents house. That is also can be considered as really adverse, and can be considered as mental cruelty very clearly.
And
And
we
I'd
can
also
do
like
that.
to mention one more interesting point that she mentioned regarding her husband demanding money from her father for
Yes.
business. Now we have to establish that was there any ill intention regarding it. Was he actually planning to return that money, or was he not planning to return that money? Now, as she said that he actually did the whole transaction in cash, and the little bit amount was done through bank account transactions, so that can be considered as an intention that she was actually
That we can find. That's not an issue. Moreover, there are other things in this matter which we can take care of. First of all, the Istri Dhan that she mentioned initially, that can be posed from the parents to be taken back because Istri Dhan has own property in all her right, and she has all her right to keep hold of that. If at all we find a case here, and if at all we pursue with a legal proceeding against them, they will definitely be behind bars immediately, and that will be.
Sorry for interruption. The connection got lost. I have to join from
No
the
issues,
home.
no issues. We
Yeah.
can continue here.
So yes,
So I
regarding the
was.
money he demanded, so there are provisions relating that if a husband demands money for the purpose of business, so that cannot be considered as dowry. So we cannot actually see this as a dowry, but again, the intention can be clearly seen that he was
Yes,
not intending to return that
circumstances.
money. So that can be
Exploiting the financial
established.
condition of the father-in-law here.
Exactly.
That we can
Yes.
be done here also. Moreover,
With
Istri
the
Dhan part.
intention of not returning it. Yeah.
Yes, even the father-in-law and mother-in-law are actively taking part in this. Mother-in-law was clearly denying her from returning her Istri Dhan that she had got here. So that can also be taken into that angle, and a case in 498A can also be established on same grounds. We can prove that there was an intention of not only hiding facts against her, and then also they were trying to exploit money from the wealthy status that they have. That is
Absolutely.
that can be. Although I don't want to jump into that, I just want a cordial end to this, at least for the parents of this guy. So mediation is something that we will try to bring into this fray and see what goes, what
Absolutely. I think
transpires
mediation
after
would
that.
be the first option we should go for. We can actually go for mediation, as the court says that you have to go mediation
Yes,
in
yes,
such cases first, and then you can go for the suit parts, and where you can go for litigation. So yeah, I think we'll have to go for mediation first, and then
mediation first.
the civil suit. Yeah.
And then we can pursue, if at all things go sour in mediation and we don't find a solution between them, and we'll try our best advices to offer there. If
Absolutely.
that doesn't work out, then we can file a case of 498 because it's her basic need. primary
Yeah.
need. She wants to see them behind bar. So
Absolutely.
let us file a case against that. If at all they refuse to cooperate with us or have a cordial end to this mediation thing, if at all there is a disagreement also in they are not participating in mediation, we can do that also. And second of all, uh, do you think there is a scope of saving this marriage, or do you want to end it? What is your advice on
See,
this?
as she clearly mentioned, as she clearly, cleared her intention that she wanted to end the marriage. So it's kind of an irretrievable marriage where you cannot save it, as she had made her intention clear. But of course, we don't know what the other party wants here. So we'll have to actually, if this is a mutual divorce, I don't think this will be a very difficult task. But if it's, contested divorce where she's actually fighting for divorce and the other person does not want divorce, I think he also has made clear that he wants to end the marriage. So it'll be a mutual divorce. We'll have to go for divorce. We can try the process of mediation, but again, if they have made clear that they don't want to save the marriage, then I think we can go for divorce, and a mutual divorce which will not take much time. It'll be
Mutual
as a
divorce
6 months
also,
time.
that's a route that we have to take before 1 year is completed. So annulment, I think, is the perfect option in this case. We will file a suit for annulment,
Yes,
and the
annulment can
marriage.
also be done, of course.
Yes,
Yes.
annulment should be the ideal option here. And if we take that route, we will immediately get the remedy and the marriage. Let's see how the proceedings go, what the court of law
Absolutely.
suggests. If they're trying to bring them together, maybe there is a medical treatment for bisexuality in eyes of law or in medical terms. If
No, I
that can
mean,
be sorted out,
that's see, we should of course not consider that right now.
I want
All
to
we
save
know
this
is
marriage.
that
I don't like
before
to
ending this
end
marriage, I mean,
marriages. That's why I'm trying
you
to
know,
see the best routes.
a fact that was hidden from her should be considered as a fraud, and not hiding a facts, of course, before marriage is not right. And this can actually we can use it as a very good ground for
All right.
divorce or annulment of marriage, of course.
All right. So let's summarize this. First thing that we have to do is annul the marriage, file
Mm.
for annulment. Let's send a notice first and see what they are returning as a statement from their end. If at all there is something negative, let's file for annulment immediately after that notice. Then, if at all there is a mediation occurring in this case, they agree to that, then we'll try to end things
Mm.
on cordial term. At least no damages are taken part of. If they are ready to return the money that they have taken, history, them and everything, without any force, that would be a great thing. But if they don't do it, 498A is the route that we have to take. And if there are other sections which we can use to get the return the money back, maybe illegal way they have taken, and we will get the money back, make us pay the damages. At the same time, they will be behind bars for the action that they have taken. It's up to
Absolutely.
them how
Yeah.
they cooperate in the mediation part. Anything that you would like to add to this?
No, I think Council 2, we have probably covered everything we wanted to discuss, and I don't think there's anything else I'd like to
All
discuss.
right, great.
And
So I think
we'll end
we are
this.
done.
Yeah,
We are
thank
done.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, consuls. Now I would like to request Simran ma'am to ask any questions that you might have for the consuls, and then Aishwarya sir can go next.
Yes. So, counsel, I have a few questions. I think you seem a little bit confused between, what do you want to do for your client? You want to go for annulment, you want to go for a divorce, you want to go for a mutual divorce. I think there is a lot of confusion. So, can you just settle down, like what one way you want to, get through with your client?
Annulment.
Sure.
Annulment.
Annulment.
Okay, and
Yeah.
why so?
Mhm.
Why so? Because ma'am, the fact that her husband was bisexual and he knew about it before the marriage, but he chose not to tell her, and continued with the marriage, and of course, which led to her being being in a lot of mental trauma after when she came to know about it. So that can be considered as a fraud and can be considered as a good factor for filing for annulment of marriage. Given the marriage is void.
So why not divorce? Why not file for divorce under Section 13 of Indian Marriage Act?
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year was not completed in this case. The marriage is yet to complete 1 year, which will create the
Yeah, exactly.
eligibility
The
of
marriage
marriage
has not been
divorce.
completed.
Okay. So let's suppose that marriage was like for 2 or 3 years. So what ground of divorce you would prefer or you would go on for this case?
Mental
Let's suppose
cruelty
that the
first.
time is not a bar. Yeah. So what are
Mental
grounds?
cruelty. First of all, mental cruelty. We can clearly see that there was mental cruelty in her case, and mental cruelty is actually a very valid ground for divorce these days. So yeah, mental
Right.
cruelty is
So
considered.
cruelty is okay.
Yeah.
Cruelty under Section 13 Clause 1. Right.
Yeah.
Good. So okay. So is cruelty defined in any of the sections? In
Yes,
any
ma'am.
of the
Yes. It has been defined in Section 498A IPC.
so in 498A it only says for the purpose of this section cruelty would mean, so the words go like this. So in general, has any act defined cruelty?
No, ma'am, that's the gray area. Sometimes it's a big question in jurisprudence of what exactly should be the benchmark of defining and making sure that this cruelty has
Yes.
crossed its threshold. So
Right,
it all
because
depends on the case and matter.
if
Right.
cruelty would be defined very well, then it would
Yeah.
narrow down the area and would
Exactly. Yeah. Such
actually
statements.
be a hindrance in giving
Exactly. Such
justice to the
statements had to be left
right.
open-ended so that cases can add to the case. Yeah.
Accordingly.
Right. Also, when the client was asking for remedies, I think you asked like for a counter suit. So Miss Shweta had said that she'll put a civil suit. So I did not get that. What civil suit? Under which section you would file civil suit?
Ma'am, basically, I wanted to mention like a suit for divorce. See, such cases are, civil cases, so we'll have to file for a
No,
suit.
when the client was asking for if the if the family can be put behind bars. So I think the second time the council 2 said that it would be a criminal suit and under section 498A. So I think you got confused between what suit will you be putting. It would be a civil suit or it would be a criminal suit. So
No, ma'am. Like it can
yeah.
actually go both ways. As we can actually file a divorce suit where we can mention this as a reason for divorce that she has been under.
See, divorce is a civil suit that you will
Yes.
put. No, for the remedy the client was asking. I think the council too would want to answer. I think he's raising his hand.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the reason behind my co-counsel not being able to answer properly is that she was for that matter, was not clear with the facts there. What exactly she wanted. The moment she told that she want to see them behind bars, that time we got the clarity that there is a criminal suit involved here. We were not sure about the part where she wants to pursue this with a criminal or civil case. And because nobody tries to bring criminal law immediately in any case of marriage, we try to resolve that amicably. That's why she mentioned perhaps the civil case in that matter. Once she explicitly told, I want to see them behind bars, then only I was also sure that criminal law should be bring in this picture.
So under 498A, who all can be put behind bars and for how much long? Like what's the term
From
duration?
7 years. To be very honest, ma'am, I will have to see the section, and we would have done the same. If I have to assume it's 7 years, I'm
So
just
who all can go under behind bars immediately? One wins.
in-laws,
Section.
in-laws.
Mother-in-law can definitely go behind bars immediately, as they were the ones constantly, leading to the cruelty or mental cruelty. They were torturing her constantly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you were talking to the client, were you sure that your client was physically hurt or only mentally abused? Did you
We
ask
asked
the client that?
Yes, we asked her regarding that, and she said that there was no physical cruelty, or there was just mental cruelty. They were just torturing her. They were, sorry, not torturing, but poking her and making sarcastic comments. And
Sarcastic comments.
ultimately they actually told her then never to visit her parents and to just started disrupting her timings. Yeah.
And moreover, I didn't try to bring that up personally because the person was in army, and my parents were also from army background. So we have seen that army people are very dignified when it comes to the gentlemanship. That's why thinking that was not in the way, and she actually never mentioned that herself
Yeah.
explicitly.
Also, I mean,
The
not to
family
say,
backgrounds were very
did
good.
ask her regarding it, and she
Yes.
clearly said
So
there was.
we were waiting
So
for her.
okay. Your client was doing a job. She's a scientist, right? So is she eligible for maintenance if she files if she files for maintenance
Yes, of course she can file for. I
under
mean,
which section?
she can actually file for permanent maintenance under section 25 and for temporary maintenance
Under section
25 of HMA, Hindu
of
marriage.
HM.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, being a Hindu, she can actually file a case under that. And if she wants temporary maintenance, then she can go for section 24 of Hindu Marriage Act.
And moreover, she can take the route of section 125
By
CRPC.
CRPC as well. Yeah, being a Hindu, I think the Hindu Marriage Act will work for us as well. And yeah, so.
If at all it
Okay,
takes.
but she's earning for herself, so still she can ask for maintenance.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Depending upon the standard of living that she used to have when she was under marriage, and also depending upon the earning that her husband has, and also just to maintain that. See, basically maintenance is actually requires the person to maintain the exact standard of living that she used to maintain when she was in marriage. So as she clearly said that she's independent and she does not have much money to even pay for court proceedings, so we can consider that she do not have much money and to maintain herself, to maintain the standard of living that she was maintaining before. So you can actually use this ground to ask for maintenance.
Okay, so in such types of cases, mostly in family suits, civil suits कह लो तो court इनको mediation के लिए भेजती ही है. तो do you think if the matter by chance, because like if you see the stats or go by the general data, these types of matters are not settled in mediation. But let's suppose if this matter is settled in mediation, so is it not binding, or is it?
No, it's not binding, ma'am. No.
So in mediation, you don't sign an agreement, when you settle the terms, and there's a court seal when you go for a mediation. Yes, that document has to go, in a form of a decree. It has to come to the people, but when court's seal is done, the that agreement is still binding. So I think you cannot say that mediation is completely not binding on the parties, because then there's no use of doing mediation. It's like खाना पूर्ति है कि बस करनी है तो करवा लो, अगर वो बाइंडिंग ही नहीं है तो फिर what's the use, right?
No,
So
it's like a contract here. You have to agree to the terms. It's like a memorandum of understanding that will coming into.
So see, one once it is it's signed, so it becomes a contract. Okay, if the parties do not adhere to the settlement terms, or it can go into under the sections of contract and let you breach the contract or somehow. But once it is in a form of decree. The court has the procedure to send that form, send that settlement agreement into decree, तो तब तो फिर mediation फिर binding हो जाता है.
Ma'am, yes, exactly. It depends on the parties. Like they are given the situation if they want to sign.
Right. So straight away saying and telling this to your client at mediation, because obviously ADR is into boom, and now you need to mention that. So you can straight away tell to your client कि भाई mediation तो binding है ही नहीं. Right. So you should have told the procedure also. I think a proper procedure for divorce ki theek hai, when once you file for a divorce, if you're giving such advice कि आप divorce के लिए जा रहे हैं तो आपको पहले 6 महीने का time मिलेगा, ऐसे you should have told that to the client, and I think then the session would have gone, right?
Yes.
But otherwise it was a good session. I have no more questions. I think sir can ask other questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for the tips as well.
Thank you for the tips.
Yeah, I have few more questions to you. Any one of you may choose to answer it. Okay, so what will be the ideal remedy for it, irrespective of the client's demand or what
Sir,
client
to be honest,
wants he
I'm not
wants?
able to hear.
Yeah, I think mediation would be the ideal remedy here, sir. Given the burden our judiciary has of the cases of such family cases, so mediation actually would be the ideal. And also the court and the law says that in such matters the person first of all should go for mediation, and then they should go for any other aspect. So I think mediation would be the ideal remedy.
Okay, but as she told you, like she wants to see them behind the bars. So do you think that mediation will suffice in it?
No, of course not. So looking at her requirements, of course, mediation was not what she wanted. So, as she said she wanted her in-laws to be behind the bars. Then again, I mean that of course we'll have to go for litigation. We'll have to file criminal charges.
And one thing I have observed, whenever she was mentioning she is not financially capable, so you could have countered her that you are a scientist.
No, she was already in such stress. I never wanted to bring that financial part into this conversation. That would have actually saved her from not disclosing more facts. So I wanted her to be at her comfort zone and let her speak her mind.
And
that would
also
have actually made her
was
defensive.
working under government of India, so government officials are not paid much, like in comparison to private scientists or anything. That's how we can actually, like.
You are assuming they are getting 7th pay commission, and you are assuming they are not getting paid much. Okay,
No,
fine.
they have actually got
Wasn't
reasons.
earning enough, so
So
we
you
actually
personally
just,
believe
Yes, it
that
is
our
good.
litigation system is quite expensive, that a scientist cannot afford
hiring
it.
a lawyer and everything can be really expensive.
It is indeed so.
Okay, so you are believing it. It is much expensive, and that for a woman who is filing a case for torture, mental torture, and for divorce petitions.
Right, sir.
And yeah.
Actually, I have a solution for that. I was researching this with my counsel yesterday. If at all if there is an indignant client, how should we approach it? So since she has a job right now, maybe she would have been if she would have not disclosed this properly. And the reason for her inability to pay us immediately is that she is on suspension for some reason from government. So salary is not credited regularly. So once she is back into the job properly, and when she claims that she has the money at hand with the regularity which she should get in a government job ideally, So then we can perhaps start with the flexibility of payment.
I believe no client will tell you that he has sufficient
Course.
money.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But
So
so
that we have to
assume, I mean, just
counter.
looking, I mean, considering what she said that, I am not, capable and I don't have enough money, we just actually went with that, okay, then
We
we
have
don't
to
have,
take it at
And
the face value
we
initially.
had limited
one
time with us, so we never
another
wanted.
thing, I believe that you will stuck with section 498A of IPC. Don't you see any remedy in under any other law apart from IPC?
Uh, uh, the moment she told behind bars, I immediately thought the amount of suffering that she has taken, I think 498, it should be actually the right remedy in this case.
Yeah, where she
Okay,
can actually
and
bring those
why
people.
not Domestic Violence Act?
That route we can take here, but since she was adamant
Yes,
about it, but
Section
to
12
be very honest, I
Act also
personally don't
is
know if
that,
domestic violence act
yeah,
can let somebody to
exactly.
jail.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't bring it up.
Section 12 of Domestic Violence Act is at least it talks
Domestic-
about physical and mental torture, so it can also be considered. Yes, sir. We missed that point. Yeah, that's true.
You let me for me, sir.
Okay, okay, it was good, but I have few more questions to you. I will
Sure,
ask
sir.
you. Okay, so don't you think filing a suit for annulment will be a very rigorous measure?
See, sir, the point of bringing annulment immediately is because the bisexuality part will play a permanent damaging role here. The marriage will not be able to continue in a way where the wife would be. If there was something else, like he
So
was
you
have
are
suppressed some.
considering it as irretrievable breakdown marriage.
Yes, that we
You are
can do, but
assuming it.
for that we have
That
to make sure that 1 year
actually,
has crossed.
he clearly
Then
said
why
that,
you are going for mediation?
because, sir,
Why
Mediation.
they
you are going for
to
mediation?
go for mediation first to resolve the matter out of court and then go for litigation. But if they have decided to, and also the period of divorce hasn't been completed, they have to be a marriage for 1 year and then they can file for divorce. So if they clearly said that they don't want to continue and the period has not been completed yet. So we have a strong ground for annulment as well, where we can actually see that he has done fraud and had hidden some facts which was supposed to be told to her before marriage. So again, this also have that, I mean, possibility here.
The period of marriage is taking a
Yeah,
big part
exactly.
here.
Under which
Marriage-
section annulment is provided under Hindu Marriage Act?
Section 10.
11 talks about void marriages where something has been done, a fraud has been done, so it can
Is
be
it a void marriage? Can you
talks
please?
about void marriage. And in annulment, I guess, wait,
Section 11, 12, 10,
So
11,
far
12.
I know
Something
the fraud cases are not void. They are voidable.
voidable. This is voidable. This is voidable marriage.
When you say void marriage, it is already annulled.
Penalty, yes. This is a voidable marriage at the option of wife because the sexuality of the person is in question. That's why.
Okay.
So section 11, Shweta, section 11 or 12, maybe something like that. I'm not
Section
sure.
11 talks about void marriage. I am very clear with that. Section 11 talks about void marriage, and Section 12 talks about voidable marriage, and Section 13 talks about divorce.
Section 12 will be the section 12 will be the answer, sir.
Section 12 will be the answer.
Hmm.
Okay, so at one point you are considering that this is an irretrievable breakdown of marriage, and second, you are considering it for mediation. So you are talking about two contradictory things.
Irretrievable breakdown of marriage we were trying to consider because we were not sure about the period of marriage. But the whole idea of bringing mediation into this is, first of all, law is trying to do that. And
Yeah.
maybe if at all we have
If
made
mediation does not work, then we can go for that.
that.
But
And if that period
there is
extends,
one
Irretrievable
exception.
breakdown
This
of marriage
1 year
can
clause.
actually be
There is one exception to this 1 year clause. What is that?
one exception to this.
1 year clause.
I think that is when the parties mutually agree to go for divorce. The court actually,
In this
listen to
section
them
itself, if you will read it,
Mhm.
where it has been provided, there is one exception that in case of exceptional hardship. Don't you think this case is within this term with exceptional hardship? You can file, you can go for that also if you can bring this situation into this exceptional hardship clause.
Yes.
So none of you have thought about this. We can bring this matter into exceptional hardship clause.
then it's perhaps a learning, sir, that we can take away from this.
Take away from your exactly. Yeah.
Yes. And we can use it in future also. We'll take that if at all we have missed it.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Our
Thank you so
pleasure,
much.
sir. Our pleasure. Thank you very much.
I hope the questions asked by the judges were answered to the fullest of the potential of the councils.
Definitely. Definitely.
Uh,
We hope.
yeah. Any other feedback that the judges have for the
Yes.
councils?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
More
please.
than happy to hear that.
Yeah, I have a few things to mention. So, councils, first of all, you did well, but to tell you that your client was a very twisted client, and one of those clients who takes authority in his hands and then speaks and then blabbers about each and every minute details also, and then the trick comes here that as a council you have to deviate her because she's going out of track, right? So I felt that in the very beginning she was really concerned about how she would build her trust within you, and and you could not really convince her in much time. Also, there's a very you could have avoided this cost point, because I think since you mentioned that she must have आपके secretary से बात हो गई है उसकी and everything, so I think the cost point should be उसको थोड़ा later stage पे लाते हैं, probably in the end, because I think the client is in अपनी agony में है वो, and then in the starting only you put कि cost इतनी है मेरी और हम ये लेंगे और ये फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है आगे के सेशन, एंड देन शी इज गेटिंग अवे विद इट कि भाई अगले सेशंस में क्या लेंगे. सो आई थिंक यू शुड हैव गॉटन अवे विद दैट thing. Also, I think your some of your questions were really rhetorical, and I thought कि आप starting में बिल्कुल relevant questions पूछोगे. I mean questions like कि आपको parents के पास जाने नहीं दिया तो आपको कैसा लगा and how did you feel. I think those questions were really rhetorical, because obviously anybody would feel कि भाई लड़की है, लड़की को अपने माँ बाप के घर नहीं जाने दे रहे हैं. So this is a very rhetorical question. Ki how would you feel is like not a question to be asked by legal professional, right? So I think you should have asked her कि स्त्रीधन किस कहाँ पर है, at present कहाँ पर है, आप पर उन्होंने कोई wrongful confinement लगाई है नहीं. I think you should have used those words rather than putting a rhetorical question कि आपका mental status क्या है. किसी का भी mental status obviously it would be upside down कि भाई I'm not finding it good, my marriage is not going well, only 5 days have passed and that person is flew back to Germany, so something like that. So I feel that could have been a better thing. Also, both of you were really confused because she told that it is a broken marriage to so much extent that she doesn't want to reconcile with the person. Although mediation is there in the system, and it is there in a part of process, in a part of a procedure, that every case, if you file for a divorce, it has to go into mediation. Though you were really confused about the remedies you would have given to your client, पहले आप annulment बोले, फिर आपने divorce बोला, फिर आपने बोला mutual divorce. Even in your post consultation session you mentioned कि हाँ अगर हम इनका divorce करा सकते हैं, फिर हम I think पहले strategy आपकी ये रहनी चाहिए थी कि आप पहले उसको defend करते, फिर attack करते, कि डिफेंस में हम उनके लिए उनको कैसे बचाते, उनको कैसे रिलीफ दिलाते एज अ डिवोर्स. ठीक है, कौन से ग्राउंड्स यूज करते क्योंकि इन पे क्रूएलिटी हुई है, कहीं ना कहीं इनको डिजर्ट भी किया गया है, बट नॉट फॉर दैट टाइम, बट क्या कहते हैं, शादी के 5 दिन बाद ही लड़का चला गया है, बात नहीं हो रही है ऐसे. ठीक है, तो वो एंड देन दी अटैक कि उन पे क्रूएलिटी का डाले, आप IPC 498 यूज करें, उनको सेव करने के लिए आप 125 CRPC यूज करें, है ना, आप DV एक्ट के अंदर जाएं, उनको डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस हुई है भाई, ऑब्वियसली देयर इज अ मेंटल पेन ऑन हर, उनको एज शी इज अ पर्सन ऑफ रिप्यूट वर्किंग फॉर द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, सो एज अ पर्सन शी शुड बी secured that ways. So I think session उस तरीके से जाना चाहिए था, but otherwise it was a good session. So all the best, guys.
I have one more question I would like to have. She actually, I thought it's a something that I have to take away. I asked for the video recording and call recording to prove that fact that person.
And she said that she would not want to answer that question. So I think you should have changed your question that way. आप उसको ये कह सकते थे कि क्योंकि हमें अपना केस स्ट्रॉन्ग करना है, so for that we would want your support, and आप हमें in other sections in other sessions आप मुझे ऐसे प्रोवाइड करिए कि हम क्या कहते हैं व्हाट्सएप रिकॉर्डिंग भी आजकल कोर्ट में जायज़ है. हमें एक 66C का सर्टिफिकेट लगाना पड़ता है, 65C का सर्टिफिकेट लगाना पड़ता है, एंड देन हम कोर्ट में आपकी ये वो आपका केस स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए ये चीज डाल सकते हैं. सो उस तरीके से आप उसको चेंज करते तो आई थिंक शी वुड हैव गिवन अ आंसर. वो उन्होंने कंसील किया, ये शायद उनको नहीं बताना होगा या क्या, बट आई थिंक आपको उस तरीके से इस चीज को टर्न करना चाहिए था.
Alright, ma'am, noted that. We'll make sure next time we do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir, any feedback from your end?
Okay, so personally, I liked the session. It was good, and the way you people concluded, although there were some missings which has been already talked by Simran ma'am, and I told you a few things. So overall, it was good session, but the point was कि client was dominating the councils. That what I felt throughout. She was dominating you. What she wants, what she see. You are more capable of twisting the facts. You are more capable of asking her the way you were putting the questions. It was like you were getting influenced by her. You were believing her. She simply said, okay, I don't want to answer as my point, and you simply believed. So I think there you lagged, and it was more of client-centric like session. Where you did not dominated. You could have asked more questions. You could have interrupted her on few more basic points that were legally valid, right? Not irrelevant questions on facts. What happened to you? What you were thinking? But this question was nice regarding that evidential question that do you have evidences to support your facts and all. So these type of questions we were looking for it, like you will ask more and more, but unfortunately you asked few questions. Otherwise it was good, and I have personally observed that you lacked in like giving a fair conclusion.
Yes, that I agree.
See, you will have to tell her what she can get. A client has many expectations from you. He even wants that he will file his suit without zero expenses and he will get remedy worth lakhs. So you will have to manipulate him in a way that law can provide her or him, whoever the client is, and you will have to give a sharp, conclusive remedy to him.
Remedy to them.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
Okay.
it was good.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
It was such an amazing session. We really appreciate the hard work of the team and the client. And most importantly, thank you to our honorable judges. Without your support, we wouldn't have been able to conduct the session. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, judges. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, judges.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can we leave the session?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You guys can exit the session. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a minute, ma'am.